Hello, everyone. Today we're talking about the invention of 50-50 relationships and why they don't work. So, has anyone ever been curious on how 50-50 relationships came to be? And what is it about 50-50 relationships where both parties will agree to it, get into it, and then feel like something's missing in the relationship? They might be thinking maybe they're not a good match. They get into roommate status. They think, well, maybe this is just how all relationships are. This is just as good as it gets. And it does not have to be that way. So, the way that human beings have evolved, and actually, let's really look at men. When males were born, boys, right? Males, human males were born, they had to do certain things at different ages, at different rites of passages to earn the title of being a man. Just like you can't just go and call yourself a doctor, you have to earn that title by going to school. You can't just go around calling yourself a Mrs. I mean, you could, but to actually have that title, you're married, right? So a title requires certain rites of passages. You have to accomplish certain things to have that title. So the title of man was awarded from the tribe and also internally to males at certain checkpoints. So when a boy was, 13, 14 years old, he was separated from his mother in the tribe, like he was taken to a separate part of the tribe, and he was taken in by the alpha males, by the elder males, right? And they would take him hunting, and they would show him, how to make weapons, to hunt, and they would show him how he has to share with the tribe. And so through that rite of passage, he would then grow up and earn and be able to say, I'm a man. And so this is just how it happened for millions of years. And this is true in other species as well, right? Like there's a rite of passage. So recently, just, one or two generations ago, what men started doing is they wanted the quick fix. They wanted the rite of passage of having a family, of having a woman, of having a house, of having a car and nice things, but they didn't want to have to work for it, right? So healthy masculine men, they will spend their teenage years in school learning, and then in their 20s they're going to start working and saving money and acquiring all the things that make them ready for a family, right? In their 30s they're building even larger, like in the early 30s they're getting larger wealth, and then in the mid 30s to the late 30s they're all focused on family. I want a woman that enhances my life experience. I want children. In the 40s and 50s they're enjoying what they built because they have earned it. So recently, males that they looked at the men and they said, well, I want that, but I don't want to have to work hard for it. I don't want to waste time, getting a success and getting a degree and working hard in a job. And I don't want to have to earn it. I can hack the system. And how they hack the system is that if they can just convince a woman that, she has to share and she should provide for herself, and she should bring in 50-50, then they can get all the symbols of manhood without actually having to earn the title. Now, the problem with this happens is because they haven't earned it, even when they get it, they start checking out. They internally know that they haven't earned it. They don't feel worthy of it. They don't feel like they feel like they're being judged. They judge themselves, but they don't know why it's happening, right? So they start checking out, they start engaging in addictive behaviors. They get on their phone all the time. They're playing video games all the time. They stop having sex with you. They're not having dates with you, right? I was speaking to a client yesterday and she said she's providing like 70%. And she said she has to beg her boyfriend to take her out on a date, and he won't even take her for fast food. They're not having sex anymore. That's what happens because internally he's not feeling like he earned it. And because he knows he didn't earn it, he devalues you in his eyes. He says that, evolutionarily for history, women married men that were ready for marriage, that could provide, that had earned the man title. Because you're with him and he hasn't earned that title, he doesn't feel worthy. He doesn't think you're worthy either. He thinks there's something wrong with you internally, subconsciously. He's not mentally knowing this. Subconsciously, he's saying, well, this is not a really, higher level gene woman. This is not a woman high on the mate value, even though I love her, but there must be something wrong with her, because why would she choose a man that's so unworthy like me? That's what's happening internally for them. Okay. So the loving thing to do is don't get into 50-50 relationship. Don't get into 60-40. There is no such thing as a 50-50 provider. He's only bringing enough for himself. In evolutionary terms, when we used to live in tribes, those men were not allowed in the tribe. You had a man. You had to share. The other alpha men could not even trust a man that only brought in enough for himself, because they felt like that man could betray him. That man is not trustworthy. That man has not earned the man title. So we have no history of this. And because this is so new, we don't know what to do with it. It doesn't make spiritual sense. It doesn't make scientific sense. It doesn't make psychological sense. It doesn't make emotional sense. It does not work. In some cases, people can agree and say, you know what? I just want to have a comfortable life. I don't want romance. I don't want my man to grow in love with me. I'm okay with someone that is just roommate with benefits, maybe some benefits, right? In that case, it could work. But then you have to be realistic and say, I don't want more. I'm okay with being with someone like that. What I've seen in my coaching practice, I'm so honored and blessed to see thousands of women through my programs and through my coaching services, right? What I've seen is in those relationships, eventually the man will either cheat, either he will go into deep depression, he will get weird addictions, maybe porn, maybe drugs, maybe alcohol, maybe video games. Why? Because he's shutting down inside. He's not feeling worthy. He's not feeling like himself. He's not feeling like I'm a man, right? Like he's not feeling like that. So you can make it work, but just be prepared that I have seen a lot of problems in my coaching practice with this stuff. Even when it's like the woman's like, well, I agreed to it. This is the best I can do. I'm okay with 50-50 or 60-40 or whatever. Later down the line, they hire me because there's problems. It's like he's just not motivated. He sits there. He's addicted. He's cheating. He's this, he's that. Because think about it, an insecure person is a very dangerous person to be in a relationship with, right? Because depending on how insecure they are, what are they using as a mask for their insecurity? Are they using addictions to spending, to gambling, to sex addiction? Like, what are they using as their crutch to numb out their insecurity?